something intuitively told me that this will help my health for the future by detecting damage in my body and regenerating cells. What we do today affects our body 5, 10, 15 years from now.
And it changed our lives forever. I'm so grateful. And I felt like, it's just like a God sent. Like, what if I wasn't open at that time? What if I ignored that? Like, I could have not received this blessing if I didn't like open my mind, if I didn't have that curiosity.
Right away, I felt it help with my mood. And then I found my hair was growing quickly and thicker. And I also was sleeping better. And that was like, wow, I had no idea.
My mom was plagued with this bacteria growth in her mouth. She came to my house after about 2 weeks and she said, honey, it's gone. It's gone. And it hasn't come back.
I'll never forget. I sat her on the bed and I looked at her and I said, everybody needs to know about this.
What if this is things that you've been praying for?
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Quantum Body Podcast, where we actually share activations about quantum, cellular, and regenerative health in order for you to upgrade your body and expand into higher states of consciousness. Actually, I'm really excited today for you all to meet and hear these beautiful guests that I have here on the show today, because they're really going to share with you how their lives have transformed, how their bodies have upgraded through cellular health, but more specifically through cellular communication, cellular signaling, supplementing with redox signaling molecules. For myself, actually, it has completely changed my life. It upgraded my body on so many different levels, from nervous system, digestion, hormones, menstrual cramps, joint and muscle inflammation, and energy levels and clarity, so much more. That I've actually done a video sharing about my story that I will tag in the description box below for you guys to see. But also it has changed my stepson's life, who is on the spectrum. He literally had a breakthrough using that technology. But just to start here, I want to share that actually supplementing with redox signaling molecules is not in any way a cure of any sort of disease or illness. The intention of this podcast is not to go into what this technology does. I'm going to tag also some information for you to learn more about it on a deeper level. But actually what I want to say in summary is that what it does is that it activates the inner doctor within you in order to have your body heal itself. But thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it that you're taking the time to do this. And I would love to hear from you. How has your lives transformed? How did your body upgrade using this technology, redox signaling molecules?
I'm happy to share first. Thank you for having me, Natalia, and being joined with Travis, Marevic, and Leann. So I learned about ASEA 5 years ago. Oh, really quick, my name is Ricardo. I live in Frederick, Maryland, which is about an hour north of Washington, D.C., the capital of the U.S. Then I learned about ASEA 5 years ago. And unlike most people, no one introduced it to me. I learned about it just kind of randomly on my own. I was watching a conversation on YouTube with two health professionals. One name was Zach Bush. Some people know him. And they were talking about a lot of different things in health. They were talking about his health product. And they mentioned a few things about, they said a few things about ASEA. And they said, the only company in the world that has stabilized redox signaling molecules is ASEA. I had absolutely, no idea what that meant, but I knew I never heard of it before. And it just something is the fact that I never heard of it just really got my attention. And I never stabilized molecules in a bottle. Like, what does that mean? And they said it spontaneously affected our cells in a positive way by making them younger. So they said a few different things. They went on a little bit more and went on with their conversation. So I said, I have to find this stuff. Because at the time, I didn't have any health issues, really anything substantial going on. But I had a prevention mindset. And this told me, something intuitively told me that this will help my health for the future by detecting damage in my body and regenerating cells. So I looked into it, start using it, again, just really to be proactive. However, at the time, I was having sleep issues for about 9 months. I tried a lot of different things and nothing really helped. And, because I learned about this on my own, I didn't know, I wasn't looking for that to improve. And I did not know that was something a lot of people reported, but my sleep improved immediately. I started sleeping throughout the night, much deeper sleep. And I was like, oh, I wasn't even sure if it was through Redox or not initially. So continue taking it. I maybe noticed a little increased energy, maybe a lift in brain fog. Nothing mind blowing, to be honest, but I just stayed with it because I just trusted the science and I knew it was positively affecting my body. But my real game changing moment came about 9 months into taking it. I like to work out a lot. I probably worked out about 5 or 6 times, 5 or 6 days a week. And my workout recovery was becoming more and more problematic. I would be very fatigued and achy after I worked out. I would have to take a nap, and this would go into the next day. So I was just like, oh, what am I going to do? I had to cut back on how often I worked out. And I knew a lot of Olympic athletes, a lot of endurance athletes use Redox in their before and after regimen. So that's what I did. And I'm still blown away how good I feel after I work out. I'm 49. I feel 20 years younger. I feel like I'm 30 after I work out. I feel amazing. And it's been truly a blessing. And what really excites me about Redox, we were just talking a little bit on here. What really excites me about Redox is that, we're not going to go into too much about how it works and what it does, but I know I'm knowing how the impact I'm having on my health for the future, right? What we do today affects our body 5, 10, 15 years from now. So I know what I'm doing right now and being able to consume redox signaling molecules on a daily basis is just it's amazing for my health for the future. And I will share, I learned about ASEA and Redox on my own. So I had to research it on my own. I didn't know I had to find resources on my own. And I was just captivated by this uniqueness of this stuff called redox signaling, the fact that it was a exploding area of science and that ASEA was the only company that has harnessed it where we could support our bodies. And I was just researching everything I could. And over the last 3, 4, 5 years, I just kind of got my hands on everything I could, and patents, peer-reviewed studies, videos with doctors. I talked to doctors, asked questions just to quench my curiosity. And this all led to me publishing a book last year called Life's Biohack, because it is integral to all life on the planet. The health secrets of redox signaling revealed is a short introduction on redox signaling, just for lay people who don't want to get too deep into the science, but a general understanding. So that's my ASEA story.
Wow, thank you so much, Ricardo. I absolutely love your story, and finding especially the parallel with that, when you mentioned like intuitively you just knew, and I hear that so often with ASEA. It's incredible, as if like it's not that we find it, but it finds us, and I find that also that was my own experience as well. And I love that it started like that with you, and then you said like you trusted the science. I resonate with this also for myself. It was first intuition, and then like when I understood what it's really doing, like that breakthrough that we never expected of, right? In science, this huge realm that we're entering into cellular health is really fascinating. So yeah, I really love that. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I also want to point out something you shared about like the 9-month period. because I found that with, all supplements in general, but, with this process is that sometimes people quit, beforehand or something before they actually can feel something. And I feel that it really requires patience. Like this process requires patience to allow the repair to happen really on a cellular level. So what inspired you actually to publish a book? I was curious about that, if you want to share.
Oh, wow. I can talk all day about that. From a very practical standpoint, as it relates to redox signaling in our bodies, I was watching a documentary called Stink, and it was about how toxins and chemicals are allowed because of lack of regulation, really, are allowed in our household products, and how the increased usage of these toxins has parallel with the increase in disease in the US and around the world. And I was just kind of frustrated. And I kind of thought, like, what can I do? What can we do? What can I do? And the one thing we can control is our health, is our bodies. And knowing how pivotal redox signaling is to the body, and how, a lack of knowledge, awareness, understanding prevents people from taking the power of that for their health. So maybe if I wrote just a short little book, just to help explain why it's made from saline a little bit, would do a little good. So that's why I wrote it from a practical standpoint. From a personal standpoint, it was part of my purpose and evolution as a person. When I think back to who I was, 10 years ago, just working in my cubicle, realizing how I played it safe all my whole life, and I made a decision I was going to change my life. And that book kind of encapsulates my journey.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm really glad you did. So how much do you drink of ASEA, Ricardo?
I'm be honest, I'm all over the place. It just kind of depends on the day. I would say I drink, at least, just to keep it simple, 8 ounces a day. I drink 4 ounces in the morning, 4 ounces in the evening. When I work out, I'll drink 2 ounces before, 2 ounces after. If a strenuous workout, I'll do 4 after, 4 before, 4 after.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ricardo. Okay, who would like to share next?
I'll go next.
Yeah.
I'm Leann. I'm up in mid-coast Maine in Belfast. And but I actually live in Florida, and that's where I first heard about it. Somebody sent me an email and just said that they had heard about this cutting-edge cellular healing product. And I'm interested in interesting cutting-edge miracles. And so I said I wanted to try it, and I ordered some. And right away, I felt it help with my mood. And then I found my hair was growing quickly and thicker. And I also was sleeping better. And that was like, wow, I had no idea. And so I stayed on it for about 2 years. I stayed on it for about 2 years, and it was just part of my life. And then I didn't even realize that I had gone off it. And in retrospect, it just must have been my credit card either expired or I changed my debit card number. I don't even know why I stopped getting it. And that was that. It just wasn't really missing. COVID came, COVID went. I didn't even think about it during COVID, and I should have, because I actually had COVID a couple times. But this year, I injured my back in a Pilates class. And normally when I have an injury, it goes away in 2 days. Like, I rest, I drink a lot of water, and it goes away. And this one did not go away. And it was really debilitating. And I follow Danielle Matthews on Facebook, and she lives near me in Florida. And I reached out to her and I said, can I get some Renew, which is the gel version of this product? And luckily there was somebody about an hour away who had some, and I went and bought it, put it on immediately. The second I put it on, I was like, oh, this is my balm. This is such a beautiful thing. And I just kept putting it on and putting it on. And then 2 days later, I was completely better, just completely better. And I had ordered a case of the liquid and it arrived and I was so happy. Like I even took pictures of the box and I unwrapped it and I was so excited because it is so beautiful. The blue, like the t-shirt that Ricardo has on, that blue is my favorite color. And so I just knew getting it again was what I needed to do, and just started taking it and sharing it with my husband. And so my back pain went away, and then my sleep started improving again. And then he had something on his elbows where he had really cracked, bloody, dry skin, and it was painful to him. And his dermatologist wanted to give him steroids and he didn't want to take them. So I put the gel on the elbows, and within 2 days, it was like cleared up and like had this kind of different texture to it. And then within 2 weeks, it was completely gone, like a baby's elbow. It was miraculous, because some people live with this these symptoms for their whole life, and really challenged by it, and even take the steroids and it still doesn't help. So that was a miracle. And then my mom is 93 and was having severe toothache. And my cousin, there's John, sorry. And my cousin was staying with her, and he called me up and he's like, oh, your mom is in so much pain, call the dentist. What do we need to do? And I said, well, I'll just bring some Renew 28 over. And I put some on her, or I had her put it on her jawline 3 times in 5 minutes. And I didn't even remember that we were doing that. And she goes, oh, the pain is all gone in 5 minutes. And she was like almost in tears before that. So those are my big 3, like most recent. I've only been on it since February again this year, but those were 3 things but mostly my sleep at night is fabulous, and I used to wake up maybe 2-3 times a night. Maybe now I just wake up once and I get up, go to the bathroom, come back to bed, and sound asleep again. So that's really, really good.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing. And how much do you drink as well of the liquid?
About 3 to 4 ounces twice a day. And then if I, like in the middle of the day, if I just feel like it, I'll take another swig. I keep it on the sink in the kitchen, and so I'm in there a lot. And if I remember, I'll take another swig. But I think the more the merrier. So
Beautiful.
And I want to be married. So
yeah, I'm also curious that this question came up. Like, have you noticed, because you stopped for a little bit, like, have you noticed the difference getting off of it in your body?
Well, I really didn't. It was so weird that I didn't. But I've had a lot of changes in my life, and so I just think I don't know exactly why I didn't notice it, but I noticed it the minute I got back on. Like I noticed my mood. I'm going to try it though for after walking, because I do take a long walk every day, and then I'm really tired when I get home. So I think I'm going to try taking it after my walk and see how that changes. But yeah, I really, just once I got back on it, I noticed a difference. I really didn't notice when I went off.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. For me, definitely there was a point where I stopped for a little bit, and I noticed that some things did not, like I just kept feeling good, like my digestion, for example, or muscle or joint pains, like they weren't, like it's not like I felt it again. I think one area where I felt the difference was energy levels. Like I felt again a little bit of fatigue, but other things I felt like, wow, it felt like the repair somehow took place. So that's interesting. Okay, thank you, Leann. Who would like to share next?
Can go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it, Marevic.
Okay. Hi, my name is Marivic Pasamba, and I'm based here in Indiana. I studied ASEA 4 years ago, and it's by accident. I like early that year, my husband suffered a major health challenge, and it caused some paralysis in his body, right? And so 6 months had passed, and he was not really doing well. So basically, I was just praying for something. I was just so stressed out at that time, mentally, physically, just to take care of him, and financially, and like all other stress. So out of nowhere, I got like, a message from Facebook, and it was from Danielle, and basically Danielle Matthews, and basically she was just asking me if I was open to take a look at what she had. And so normally I would just like ignore this kind of messages in like, Facebook, right? But like after 2 days, I couldn't just like stop thinking about it. It was just like something inside of me was just like saying like, what if this is like, this is the things that you've been praying for. So after 2 days, I reached out to her and I told her, hey, like, I'm open. Like, what do you have? So she told me about her story, about like, her what do you call that, trauma, and like, his like her physical like challenge at that time, and how she recovered from it. And I just like got interested with it because it's more of like the same like, nature as what like my husband had. And so we started a product. My husband didn't like, want to take it like, initially, because he was very skeptical. He didn't know what it was. I couldn't explain it to him what it was. And so it take like a while for him to really start it. So I ordered a product and he said, well, if you don't want to take it, I will start drinking it because we have it. And I thought I really didn't have like any health issue, but I would take it anyway because I don't want to like waste like, that thing. And so I like noticed at that time that like, after I started taking it, I kind of like, slept better. Like, when you have like a lot of stress, you kind of like, you couldn't sleep. But I really didn't like, I didn't think of it until my mom came from the Philippines, and she was having like a hard time like breathing when like, she talks, like she gets short of breath. And so like I noticed it and I was like, okay, well, why are you like having shortness of breath? So I had asked her, so like, would you like to drink this like stuff? I don't know what is this, but just like drink it. So the next day she woke up and said, what was the thing that you gave me? Like I slept so like, I slept so good like last night. Like, I want to keep drinking it. And so like she kept on taking it. And after like a month or so, I really didn't pay attention to the timeline of it because first of all, I mean, like I kind of like, what do you call that, curious about this, but I really didn't like, believe that it's gonna do like it's magic or something like that. And so after a month, I noticed her like, like the shortness of breath like just went away. And I was like, I made this comment. I was like, wow, like, your shortness of breath is like gone. And so like my husband like overheard me saying this. And so then he started like taking it. So so my husband like started taking it like after like a few months that we had the product. And before that, like, he's been falling a lot. He was not doing like a lot, like as far as like basic stuff that I, like, we normally do. So I really had to help him like physically, but like after like take like the liquid, he started like, standing better. His balance had improved, and he was able to get himself to the bathroom for like, some basic stuff, getting out of the bed because he's in a wheelchair. And this is like, big stuff for me for him, because then I don't have to wake up like at the middle of the night to help him. And so I realized it's like, oh my gosh, like this thing really like works. And so another thing that he had like, he had like issue with was he was having like a lot of pain in his shoulder, right? So at night he would be say, screaming. And so the doctor gave him like, some topical cream, and it like did something temporary. So I used the Redox gel and that like, in that shoulder, and I kid you not, it's gone. So it's not like, he didn't have like that pain. And the major thing is from then on, he was able to be more independent, like, being able to do a whole lot for himself. And it just like get his independence, like, but it's not like, it's not like he got cured from it, like, but it's more of the functional stuff that if you lost it, like, and you regain some of it, like, it just like make a huge difference in your life. And so, like, from then on, like 4 years ago, we started it. Like, I take it, my kids take it. I have 3 boys. I use the gel all the time, like, scrapes and like, all other stuff. I nebulize them with the liquid if they have like sniffles and stuff like that. This thing just works like magic. And I always have this like with me. And now, like before, my kids would just like be like, oh, what is this stuff? Like now, if they feel sick, like, if they get like, they feel sick like in their stomach, my youngest was like, mommy, can I have like a tia? So they know that it works, and it is just amazing, and it changed our lives forever. I'm so grateful. And I felt like, it's just like a godsend. Like, what if I wasn't open at that time? What if I ignored that? Like, I could have not received this blessing if I didn't like, if I didn't like open my mind, if I didn't have that curiosity. So I hope, like, who's ever watching this, like, if you have that, like, you're really like that little nudge on your inside of you, that this could, like, change like something in your life, like, just like take that chance, because this could be like, the thing that you've been looking for. And like, and I know it did in our lives. And I'm so grateful that Danielle had, like, sent me that message. That just one message changed our life forever. That's my story.
Wow. Thank you so much, Marevic, for sharing that. That's so powerful. And I also absolutely love this, that you were somehow like, you started with yourself, and then that ripple of you starting has made that impact into the rest of the family. I noticed that as well, that sometimes, like, okay, we are like the first ones to try, but actually there's a bigger purpose, maybe someone else that is more in need of that. And I know that, I'm sure by, him, your husband getting better, your mom, that has impacted the entire household and the entire family, the entire life of the entire family. I've noticed that for myself as well with my stepson, like I received it first, but then offering it to him and seeing his breakthrough has changed our entire life as well. So even hearing this, maybe you can think of someone, someone else that may be of need of this. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And how much do you drink as well, Marivic?
I do like the 4 ounces a day, so 2 in the morning and 2 at night.
Okay.
Yes.
And your husband as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And like once in a while, I would give my kids, if they're not feeling well, like, I gave them, and like, but the gel is just like, the gel, I call it like a miracle gel. Like, every time, like my kids, my youngest one has like, his like stomach is very sensitive. So once in a while he gets like, he throws up a lot, right? And so I just like rub that gel in his belly and in his neck, and he didn't have like, just like, it just like fixed it. And yeah, so we always have it. Like, if you have young kids, I think that's like, it's a must to have.
That's true.
A secret weapon.
That's beautiful. And it's also reminded me earlier when you were sharing about like how you did not, like, maybe they did not notice that it was the link, that the Redox was actually supporting them. It reminded me also of sometimes when people, like, when they're drinking it, they're like, okay, they're not, some people say, okay, like it's the placebo effect, but notice that it's not, well, knowing that there's entire science behind it. But some people don't see the link. And then it's like, okay, how about you try getting off of it, and then you will see the difference, and getting on it again. Or in other ways, maybe seeing your blood, like taking a, taking a blood analysis and seeing the difference. But also I would say, like, even the tracker, like kind of tracking what starts in the beginning, and like how you start feeling little by little, because then those small shifts I feel really help, because otherwise we forget. I find that we forget how pain used to feel, or how our bodies used to feel before. Yeah.
That's true.
Thank you, Marevic. Okay,
You're
Travis.
welcome.
All right. I just want to also thank you, Natalia, for this platform to share. And I feel so honored and grateful to have been here participating and listening to these beauties talk about their experience. I've had all these experiences, and I'm just lit up right now, especially that last story, Marevic. I mean, this is almost identical to my experience. So my name is Travis Hogue, and I'm broadcasting here from the Central Coast of California, in the San Luis Obispo area. and I am 55, and I've been with ASEA now for 3 years. And my entry point into ASEA is so random. I had posted on Facebook about a recent blood test that I had done that showed that I was vitamin D deficient. Now, about 3 years ago, we were at the end of the COVID uh, pandemic, or we might have still been in it a little bit, depending on who you ask. But anyway, I was concerned, and I posted this random thing on Facebook, and I got a message from a dear friend of mine who said, "Hey, man." Uh, we're having a Zoom a little bit later today that's talking about a breakthrough in cellular healing that might help your situation for your body to absorb vitamin D. I mean, he was, you know, and I said, well, any Zoom with you is going to be great. I would just love to just be with you. So if we're going to be hearing about cellular health, even better. So that day I got on this Zoom, and he and his wife, Shannon Plummer. So this is Bob Simon and Shannon Plummer. Shout out to these two. And they had their friend Danielle Matthews, who you all know here. And those beauties described to me a breakthrough in cellular technologies, cellular healing. And I listened to their stories and of healing, and it didn't so much light me up for me, although I was interested in absorbing vitamin D a little better, and maybe, having an uptick on, like Ricardo was saying, I'm going to do something today that my future self will thank me for. I wasn't so lit up by that, but I was lit up in the possibility for my mother. You see, my mother is in her mid 70s, and she's got a lot of health challenges, many. And I was thinking, if the cellular healing is available for these people that were experiencing some amazing shifts, I wonder if that could be true for my mother too. And at the conclusion of that Zoom, I said I wanted to talk it over with my wife and get back to them, and so I did. I shared with my wife what I had heard, and she was interested in hearing some more also. And so we got up on a follow-up call, and I said to those three, Bob, Shannon, and Danielle, uh, I am interested in trying it, but I'm going to need enough product for 3 adults. What are the options here to purchase this? And so uh, it also was another great opportunity for me to learn just how generous this company ASEA is. They had some packages available that allowed me to get enough product for 3 people to experience possibility. But also, I got a lot of free product as well. And so I purchased the biggest pack I could, and my wife and I started taking it immediately. And the reason why I delayed giving it to my mom right away is I actually wanted to just try this and make sure that there was something here, that I wasn't just giving her, salt water. You know what I mean? And what I heard from the directions, the videos that I watched, and the descriptions from the beauties that shared this beautiful technology with me, was that consistency was key. And I might not feel anything right away, but to give it time. And I got to tell you, we started taking it at the dose of 2 ounces in the morning and 2 ounces at night. We were just kind of ramping up. And then eventually, right around the 2 week mark, we upped it to 4 ounces in the morning and 4 ounces at night. And I got to tell you, within that time, I did start noticing and I don't have anything really that's a heavy health challenge, but what I did notice was that I was sleeping great. And then I also noticed that at work, I was really focused. I was actually really focused, and I was getting through complex things, and at the end of the day wasn't so um, brain tired. I'm still ready to go. And then also what we noticed is similar to what Ricardo was talking about was our workouts. The stamina and recovery was noticeable. Like I could go previously, I would be on like maybe a 5 mile hike or something, and I would need to take a couple hours in the afternoon to recover. But I noticed that my wife and I were hitting like 7, 8 mile hikes, and then we get home, and then we're like, okay, now what? We're ready to go shopping, and we're going to do some house cleaning. It wasn't an energy boost like drinking a cup of coffee or anything. This was like literally like, I don't feel tired. I can actually push myself a little bit harder. These were things that we were noticing. So at that point, we did give it to my mom. We shared the videos with my mom, and my mom was interested. And my mom had the most dramatic effects, and I could fill the next 20 minutes with my mom. Suffice to say, she had some incredible moments. I will mention one right away that my mom was plagued with this bacteria growth in her mouth. Now, she has shared about this experience, so I'm not talking out of turn about her experience, but this particular growth, the doctors couldn't figure out what it was, and they kept giving her interventions that were aggravating the growth, or that would make food taste terrible, make her grumpy. The situation of having this growth in her mouth would make her grumpy anyway. And my mom is a very jolly person, and to have that irritant in her mouth was quite a challenge. So anyway, literally within 2 weeks of drinking the ASEA, a drink in the blue bottle, she was also ramping up to eventually be at 4 ounces in the morning and 4 ounces at night. She came to my house after about 2 weeks, and she said, honey, look into my mouth. And I'm like, Mom, I don't want to look in your mouth. She said, look in my mouth. It's gone. It's gone. And it hasn't come back, which has been a complete mystery to the doctors, but a complete godsend. We are so blessed. It's like answered prayer. So one of the other things that came in the package I bought was this white tube of gel. And so we would put the gel, Dr. Silverman would tell us to shake the bottle and put this on anything that aches. And so for my mom, that was her hands and her knees and her hips. And so what we learned is that this gel is twice as concentrated as the drink is. So that was neat. And so when she would put it on her joints, she would put it on 3, 4 times in 5 minutes, and then if it was really painful, she would use another intervention like CBD oil. She would put that on for pain relief, but the intense pains were going away with repeated use of this gel. And so to summarize all of this up, my mom and a lot of our local friends and family around here, I started sharing our experiences with it, and a lot of our friends and family are also taking the ASEA train. And what I also am immensely grateful for is Bob and Shannon and Danielle for sharing this technology for me. Much like Marevic said, this is answered prayer that I didn't even know that I was praying for. This isn't the intervention that I was looking for, but I'm so blessed that we have this in our life. And as Leann was saying, this miracle I don't really see it so much as this being the miracle, but the miracle for me is that we have access to this. Like I can literally take this stuff every day, and I can't imagine not being on it. So many of my friends and family, they'll say, well, how long do you got to take that for? And I'm like, I don't even think of it like that. That's like, this is like, I don't want to be without it. I
Yeah.
feel so good and blessed to have access to this, and also for the community, like what you're doing, Natalia. This is bringing us together to share our experiences, and the larger ASEA community. I feel like they're family. Like I actually met Ricardo at an ASEA gathering, a convention, where we got to learn more about the products, more about the technology. And at that convention, ASEA had rolled out another product called Cellular Performance, and they had these. They're not Redox technology, but they're powered by Redox, and that was my first introduction to those powdered supplements that you can add to water, one for energy, one for mind, and one for mood. And I literally use the mind and the energy cellular performance packets every day, also in my work. Instead of drinking coffee, I actually wean myself off of my afternoon coffee, and I use that brain support and the energy cellular performance in my daily life. So I can't imagine
Amazing.
not wanting to or not wanting to take it, or not having access to it. I raise and praise ASEA as a business, and I hope they continue forever because I want this product. And I also want to just close by saying thank you to those beauties that had the courage to share with me, Bob, Shannon, and Danielle, because my life has changed and my family's life has changed. God bless you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that, Travis. That was really beautiful. And I find that that is really fascinating with cellular health. I feel why it's actually really a breakthrough, that just hearing everyone's stories and how it's really non-specific. It's really
Right.
activating that doctor within you that will do whatever it needs and go where the issue is and kind of amplify it. But also hearing that the common denominator is that as if it's really optimizing our health. Like it's really what would be our optimal state. I feel that's what it's doing, and each one of us in our own different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I thought just to wrap it up here, in few words, I would just love to hear from you what got you to really embark on this journey of sharing with other people? Because I'm sure that, using the product is actually one thing, and there's so many different resistances sometimes people can have to, whether it's the model or whatever, but I'm sure that there was something in you that just got you to start wanting to share. And yeah, love that aspect of it. But just in few words so that we just keep it to the hour. Thank you.
I'll share first. I decided to start sharing. Actually, I was working in the US government, and the job I had very little, I felt stuck in, felt empty, and I was looking for purpose in life. And at the same time, I was just trying to wrap my head around this redox signaling stuff. And I was just mind blown by it. And my partner, I was just, going off to my partner, Ruthie, just like, this stuff's amazing. And I'll never forget. I sat her on the bed and I looked at her and I said, everybody needs to know about this. And she just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, that's just another supplement, like, whatever. And then maybe a few months after that, I was just going on about how I just wanted to do something with purpose. She said, like, you're passionate about that stuff. Why don't you, can you sell that? I was like, oh yeah, I can. So that was my initial motivation, something I was passionate about that I could honestly make an extra income, just sharing, right? Like sharing something that we're passionate about, that we love, with people we care about, and I can make extra income. It's a win-win. And I wanted my family members, like everyone else on the call, to benefit from this. So that was my initial, again, motivation. And initially, then that evolved into I didn't look at it like this at the time, but that purpose I was looking for in life. It was ASEA. It was ASEA. It was Redox, and it has truly, truly changed my life.
So beautiful. Thanks, Ricardo.
I expect that everybody would want this. Like, why wouldn't you want your cellular health to be improved? And but I have found that that's not true. And it's harder to share than I expected, because I have been into health and I have been into spirituality and growth and healing. And so I expect the people around me to be just like me. And so it's more of a winnowing. You kind of just have to sift through people. Up here in Maine, they rake blueberries, and so after you rake the blueberries, you put them through a winnowing machine, which gets rid of the rocks and the leaves, and then it just leaves the blueberries, and then they wash them. And it's kind of like this with ASEA. You just have to keep winnowing, and the leaves will come out and the rocks will come out, and then you're left with the ripe blueberries. And so I've never really thought of it that way, but I used to rake as a child, and it's hard work. And sharing this is, you have to find the right berries. You have to find the right people who are open-minded to new science and new possibility for their healing that looks different than going to a doctor or taking medicine. But it's super rewarding when people do have a positive impact, when people are open and have a positive experience. It's like this with my husband. He wasn't really open to it at first, but when his elbows healed, all of a sudden he was like, oh, wow, this is something. So he takes it every day now too. And he's had severe back pain from a life, of hard work and then surgery. And I'm looking forward to the time when he's like, oh, my back pain is, minimized or lessened. And he hasn't admitted it yet, but I think it actually is. So I'm going to keep sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. I appreciate this forum today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So in my case, after it took me like 6 months to really entertain the idea of sharing this product, because at the beginning I really didn't understand what it was. I couldn't explain it. I mean, it was like I know, and then when I started seeing the result, that my mom and my husband and and me, everything that had happened, after we were taking the product for 6 months, and I just felt I should share this stuff, just like what Ricardo said, everybody should know about this. And so that's when I started, so I started because Danielle had been asking me oh, or do you know anybody? But I really didn't entertain because I was just so focused on okay, well, I had my issue and everything, and it's gotten better. And so I told her hey, Danielle, maybe I would like to start doing the business part of this, started sharing this. And not until I heard Tyler talk, that it gave me goosebumps, that I said, I want to be part of this. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this is because of the people behind this. They're just not in for the money. And they are here to help other people. And that's what brings me so much pride about about sharing this product. And every time I heard when I meet somebody and they start talking their health issue, and the back of my mind, and something sometimes timing is not always right when you talk to somebody to share this, but back of my mind, it's oh my gosh, you should know about this, ASEA. And like, and then like I would find like a perfect moment, and everybody's not like receptive to this, like, like what, you've been saying, but the right people who is looking for this would really feel like blessed but like hearing this product. So I mean, I felt like, I just like, need to continue to like, sharing this, and hopefully it would land to the right people, just like me when I was in that place. So that's what, fires me up every day about sharing this product.
Beautiful. Thanks, Marevic. Yeah, it reminds me
Yeah.
of like of how it can just find us, when just like
Yeah.
us, we needed it and it found us. So it's just like
Yes.
reminding ourselves of that when we're, putting that prayer that whoever it is that needs it will just find it through us or through somebody else. Yeah. Thanks.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned Tyler. And I also was lit up by Tyler and the the founding of the technology. I mean, this is a biotech company, and what great work that they're doing in the world. I also get lit up by them, and it inspired me to want to share. And much like Ricardo was saying, I wanted everybody to know about this. And like Leann was saying, not everybody wants to know about this. And people are at their different levels of consciousness about their own body temple, what they want out of this thing called life. And what I want is to be optimized. I want to do what Ricardo's doing. I want to biohack myself into optimum, performance. And I want to be here present for my family. I've got a granddaughter now, and I've got beautiful children. I have a beautiful wife, beautiful life. I want the friends in my friends and family, to be living a great life. Not everybody wants to do that. And the challenge of sharing, and this is why I gave great gratitude to the friends, Bob and Shannon and Danielle, who had the courage to reach out to me and just say, hey, are you interested? They didn't push it on me, but they shared it with me. And I'm immensely grateful. And I'm immensely grateful for the leaders in ASEA, like Ricardo and Danielle, and one of my favorites, Dr. David Silverman. If you ever get a chance to be in his immediate orbit or to watch one of his videos about this technology, he gives great props and instructions on how to use it. And also, I just also want to highlight something that wasn't shared in this video. ASEA came out with a skincare line, and this man right here is zero interest in skincare whatsoever. And ASEA has got me doing, cleansing and moisturizing on my skin. Doesn't my skin look nice? Uh, I am just immensely grateful. I do hope that the people that are watching this on replay have heard something here today that will inspire them to reach out to Natalia and learn about this great technology and check it out for yourselves.
Mm. Thank you so much, Travis. And that's amazing for your skin. That's great. That's
Yeah.
good to hear. That's awesome. Yeah, I love all of that you guys shared. I feel the word that keeps popping up for me anyway with ASEA is just like integrity. Like that's just like for me, it's like equal. ASEA equals integrity. Like this company holds so much integrity and we keep seeing it over and over again. It's just so beautiful. It's really a company of the light. Thank you all so much for coming on today. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope that, yeah, whoever is listening to this is feeling it, receiving it, maybe thinking about someone else that they love. And yeah, we're here to respond to any questions you may have as well. Thank you all so much. Have a great end of the day.